Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, today we are jumping straight into the pages of what is arguably literature's greatest political thriller, Shakespeare's Julius Caesar. Now, what stands out right away is how this massive, incredibly high-stakes political conflict is set up in just a few short pages of dialogue. We aren't just looking at old words today, we are literally tracing the blueprint of a revolution.
All right, let's dive into this. We're going to start by mapping out the players of Rome, then hit the streets for a little confrontation. After that, we'll decode some surprisingly witty cobbler puns, talk about the ghost of Pompey, and finally, look at what it means to clip Caesar's wings. Let's get to it.
Section 1. The Players of Rome. Look, before we can even begin to unpack the conflict down in the streets, we really need to know who's who in this extremely fragile political landscape. Because in this world, power dynamics are absolutely everything.
So check out the dramatis personnel, the cast of characters. It instantly shows us the stark class divisions driving the whole story. At the very top, you've got the rulers, like Julius Caesar and his loyal ally Mark Antony. Then, simmering right below them, are the conspirators. These are aristocratic senators like Brutus and Cassius. Next down the ladder, we have the tribunes, Flavius and Marullus, who are government officials supposedly meant to represent the people. And finally, at the very bottom, you have the commoners, the working-class carpenters and cobblers. This hierarchy is a powder keg, and it's exactly what's about to be shaken to its core.
Now, what's really interesting here is this handwritten student note scribbled at the bottom of the page. It points out the first triumvirate, Crassus, Caesar, and Pompey, and labels it an alliance. And man, this little piece of marginalia is crucial. It reveals the super fragile political reality that existed right before the curtain even goes up.
Just as a quick refresher, the first triumvirate was basically the three-man power-sharing squad that used to run Rome. But as the play opens, that structure is completely crumbling. Crassus is dead. Pompey and Caesar turned on each other in this brutal civil war. And Caesar, well, he just won. This leaves a massive power vacuum, and Caesar is practically drooling to fill it all by himself. Talk about setting a high-stakes stage for the Republic, right?
Moving on to Section 2, Confrontation in the Streets. We've got the macro-political view down, so let's zoom right into the dirt and noise of Rome. To make navigating this 400-year-old text a breeze, we're using a dual-lens technique. We've got Shakespeare's beautiful, original poetic text on one side, paired directly with a clear, modern paraphrase on the other. It really lets us appreciate the poetry while totally nailing down exactly what they're actually saying. So, picture the opening scene. It's supposed to be a regular Tuesday, a normal workday, but instead of being in the shops wearing their leather aprons, the working-class folks are out in the streets, all decked out in their absolute best holiday clothes, just partying. And this blatant disregard for the rules, it completely enrages the two tribunes, Flavius and Marullus. They march right up to confront them.
Which brings us to Section 3, Decoding the Cobbler's Puns. What happens next is just this brilliantly funny, totally chaotic clash.
You've got these incredibly angry, wealthy authority figures going toe-to-toe with the sharp-witted, working-class guys. When Marullus demands to know the second citizen's trade, the guy just casually drops that he's a mender of bad souls, S-O-L-S. But of course, he's totally playing on human souls, S-O-U-L-S. He's literally calling the tribune a bad person right to his face, but wrapping it up as an innocent joke about shoes. It is genius.
Look at this handwritten note right next to Marullus's line. It just says, disrespectful. And honestly, it hits the nail on the head. The working class is openly mocking these politicians, refusing to give a straight answer, and you can tell they are loving every single second of it. The cobbler just keeps poking the bear. He says, I am indeed, sir, a surgeon to old shoes. When they are in great danger, I recover them. I mean, the guy is practically running intellectual circles around these frustrated tribunes. He's weaponizing humor to show that, hey, at least for today, the commoners own these streets.
All right, Section 4. The Ghost of Pompey. The jokes are fun, but playtime's over. The incredibly dark political reality of Rome is about to rear its ugly head.
So we really have to ask ourselves, why are Flavius and Marullus this enraged? I mean, it's not really about a dress code violation or some guys taking a Tuesday off. No, this anger comes from a much deeper, much more dangerous political grievance. Who exactly are these commoners celebrating?
And this brilliantly illustrates the exact moment Marullus completely loses it. His monologue here is just pure, unadulterated frustration boiling over. He literally screams at them, "You blocks, you stones, you worse than senseless things." Wow. Talk about a shocking insult.
It really exposes the absolute contempt the ruling elite, secretly or, not so secretly, have for the common people. But he's not just throwing a tantrum, he's reminding them of their very recent and incredibly hypocritical past.
He lays out this timeline that just completely exposes them. Think about it. Just a short time ago, these exact same people were climbing rooftops to cheer for Pompey. And today they are scattering flowers for Caesar, the literal guy who just shed Pompey's blood. The student note here calls them fickle-minded, which is perfect. The commoner's loyalty shifts wherever the wind blows, and honestly, that absolutely terrifies the politicians. Which leads us to our final part, Section 5, Clipping Caesar's Wings. What started as a bunch of guys arguing in the street is about to turn into Act 1, Scene 1 of full-blown treason. These margin notes give us some vital cultural context. It's February 15th, the Feast of Lupercus, this massive holiday honoring the god Lupercus, the protector of flocks. Because everyone's in a festive mood, the citizens have gone around decorating all the public statues of Caesar with trophies and ceremonial wreaths to celebrate his big win.
Now check out these other notes. Plebeian and lacking self-respect. It really shows that elitist mindset driving Flavius and Marullus. They look at these decorations and decide, nope, absolutely not. So Flavius orders Marullus to march to the Capitol and literally strip the wreaths off Caesar's statues. Now why does this matter? Well, taking down these decorations isn't just some petty vandalism. It's a calculated, super dangerous first move to disrupt Caesar's public image and pump the brakes on his momentum toward total tyranny.
So the crucial point really hits in Flavius's final lines. He says, "These growing feathers plucked from Caesar's wing will make him fly an ordinary pitch." It's an absolutely stunning metaphor. See, Caesar is this bird of prey flying way, way too high. The commoners and their cheers, those are his feathers. The tribunes are convinced that if they strip away his popular support, if they literally pluck his feathers, they can force him back down to a normal height, stop him from becoming a dictator, and free themselves from living in fear.
Which leaves us with one massive, lingering question. Will plucking Caesar's feathers actually save the Roman Republic? Or is this little act of rebellion just going to ignite a much, much bloodier war? The way Shakespeare sets the whole board up, the class resentment, the shifting loyalties, the quiet treason, all in just a few pages, is masterclass foreshadowing. It makes you realize that the real danger isn't out on some distant battlefield. No, it's right there, simmering in the streets of Rome. Thanks for joining this explainer. I'll see you in the next one.